3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, amazing planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Inspirational messages for the week ahead, and I promise today's message will be inspirational, as I'm going to be talking about how we're changing how we do things in life. We're creatures of habit, and sometimes these changes can be very disruptive for the journey, which I completely understand. So let me just double check my mic. I'm back here in my studio. Yes, in the epicenter of coronavirus in Seattle, Washington. I'm in West Seattle, but I'm back. Last week I was in Vegas doing the Fremont Street experience, and made it back just in time before everything started to really hit the fan, as they say. We've got a lot of school closures. The governor enacted closing all of bars and restaurants for delivery or takeout only. So we've got a lot of social distancing going on. And, just a lot of changes. And this morning, during my meditations, before I come live on the show, because I never know what I'm really going to talk about until the morning of, and what keeps coming to my mind is the global handshake, how we're going to change how we do things as a culture. I've never been a fan, really, of shaking hands. I know it's a gesture to make somebody feel comfortable or feel welcomed. However, I've always, when I shake somebody's hand, in the back of my mind, I'm like, did they wash their hands? I'm the kind of guy that goes into the restroom and will not touch the door handle in or out. I usually use a paper towel to grab the handle. And so I'm just very mindful about handshake. And if you know me, you'll know that I like to fist bump a lot. And I think this is going to change about how we interact with one another, and pick up, some new cultures, if you will, some new ways of doing business. I know I've had a lot of people have been reaching out to me as a psychic. Marc, what's going to happen? I do believe that this will get worse before it gets better. I'm not a doom and gloom kind of guy. I'm not going to, it's not the end of the world. It's not the apocalypse. My wife and I were talking this morning. We're just curious what the religious churches are saying about all this. But it's going to get worse before it gets better, because we don't have the proper testing here in the United States, which means that the cases are going to actually go up, and including when cases go up, that also incorporates more deaths, unfortunately. I'm keeping a track on the CDC tracker. There was a acceleration of about 700 new cases in the United States. And what I mean by is, when I say it's going to get worse before it gets better, it means that we're going to start getting testing, like other countries, like South Korea has been really good at locking this down because they had proper tests in place. Once we get the proper test, the public sector is starting to step in. The states are actually starting to take control of the situation. Once the tests are implemented, we'll start seeing people getting tested. We'll see numbers go up and spike, but then we should start to see in the next few weeks, as we incorporate social distancing, we should start to see those numbers come down. Now, this is a virus that I started talking about back in December, guys, when I had talked to a friend that traveled to China, and he actually said that he was stopping his flights to China because they were actually not being truthful with how quick this virus can spread, and they were calling it China's Black Plague. And when I started to research the area, it was coming from a small village in China. It's not a small village, guys. It's over 11.1 million people, and it's also known as the Chicago of China. Now, a lot of, even the Supreme Court right now has postponed its set of arguments over the coronavirus. There's a lot of things that are unknown. But when I started talking about this in December, I could see this becoming a growing pandemic. And, when it becomes a pandemic, that means that the spread is very quick, it's very fast, and it's something that we haven't seen in a long time. Now, we've been building up to this with H1N1, SARS, the bird flu, and all of that. However, I'm going to err on the side of safety and err on the side of positivity, that this too shall pass. It will get a little bit more increased with the numbers, but it's going to change how we think about how we do things, about how being a little bit more prepared. I'm a former Coastian, and so I've always lived by the mantra Semper Paratus, which is Latin for always ready. So I'm always ready, whether it's shelter, whether it's food, whether it's water, whether it's just being informed. But don't let being informed take you over the point of losing your losing yourself to fear and moving into panic. Keep a cool head. Keep a sound mind. Of course, stay informed. Hunker down. Get supplies. I don't know what the whole toilet paper thing is about. That doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest with you. As a species, long before toilet paper have survived. So I'm not sure where the whole toilet paper is coming into play. But people do weird things during panics, and I'm really hoping that we'll get some sound leadership that steps up to calm people. Pay attention not to news media, but go to places like the CDC, your local state governor's office, because the governors around the United States are really running this, not the federal government, and controlling the situation for the tests, and monitor the numbers like I'm doing at the CDC website. The numbers have increased, but that's going to be expected with all the tests that are going to be coming out. So they are seeing a dip in other parts of the world. It is actually starting to come down. I think the next few weeks we'll see that spike up, and then we'll come down. Schools and everything will be closed. Things that we've never seen in our lifetime, guys. I've never seen the NCAA tournament, basketball. There's no basketball this week, so I'm disheartened about that. But it makes sense to, stay in quarantine or stay locked down if you have this, so you're not passing the sickness on to others, and especially the elderly or those that have immune systems that have been compromised by maybe cancer treatments or some sort of sickness. Be mindful and be respectful, because you may not even know that you're a carrier, and stay indoors. The YMCA, and 125 years of being a member of the YMCA, have never seen it shut down. But bars, restaurants, all of this stuff is closing down, and I hope people will adhere to that, because the next step is what I talked about in early February about habeas corpus being enacted. If you're not sure what habeas corpus is, it's a constitutional right to actually shut things down under presidential authority. It is legal. I hope that we don't get to that point. I hope that there is no martial law, because people are not being respectful of the rules that are being in place for the next few weeks. My hope is that we don't go down that road, but that is a possibility. But what it's going to do, and what I want to talk about today's message, is the global handshake. The world is taking pause this morning, guys, and I think this is much needed. Last year I talked about the year of the three, which is a universal year, 2019. It was a hard year for a lot of us, and in a universal year, we also talk about the age of Aquarius, that big things happen, big changes come in that force us to move in different directions, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. And the global handshake, I think, is something that you're going to see change. Now, something that I do a lot in my spiritual path is I say namaste. The Japanese culture of bowing, fist bumping. Even Spock would come into play from Star Trek when he would do the live long and prosper. You never see Spock shake hands. That was very irrational to shake hands and spread germs. And the word namaste really just kind of came into my mind as we are changing our behaviors, changing the way that we look at life, seeing things that we've never seen before in our journey. Some schools are closed for 6 weeks. Some are closed for a few months. I suspect that the Canadian border will shut down. I suspect that you'll see more closures of bars and restaurants, like we're doing here in Washington State, because you're seeing the coronavirus really spread and move. Even Vegas, just coming back from Vegas, when I was leaving Vegas, they were starting to shut down the buffets, and they were starting to shut down the restaurants. And then I got an alert this morning that they're closing a lot of their properties. So it's just a time to take a pause. And this is something that I thought that we would go through last year, so my timing is a little bit off, but it makes sense because we're in the year of the four from a numerology standpoint, and the year of the four is all about fixing things that have been broken, being prepared, making sure that we have tests in place, making sure that we have proper government officials in place. That's the role of the federal government, is to protect its people in a time of crisis. And so we're seeing some very epic failures at all levels of response, testing, information, disinformation. And I feel that, you'll see a big change in attitude and people coming together to say, we're not going to go through this again. This was a failed a lesson, something that we learn, and if we repeat it, then that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And so this is a lesson that we're learning about how to be better prepared, semper paratus. But I think that you'll also see people change culturally about how they interact with people, and maybe imply more of the namaste. Not so much the hand holding and the handshake and maybe more the fist bump, but I see a lot of people doing the elbow bump. And of course, maybe just honoring the bow. And, the definition, namaste, for those of you on the spiritual path know the word well. I sign it in all my emails, namaste. But nama means bow, as means I, means you. Therefore, namaste literally means bow me, you, or I bow to you. That's all namaste means. You see a lot of people use the Sanskrit word in yoga, qigong, different cultures, especially, through the West. The word namaste is usually, it's usually spoken in conjunction with the gesture of namaste, that bow, that I see you, I honor you, the soul in me sees the soul in you. And I think we'll see a lot more of that. I think we're going to see a lot more of divine love. I'm not a firm believer in spreading fear and panic. Fear for me is false evidence appearing real. So stay informed, keep a level head during this time, hunker down, respect the rules that are in place, because that's protecting people. It's not taken away from your civil liberties, and it's not taken away from your freedoms, as I've seen some people be up and protest about, but people are going to protest anything this day and age. But it's about saving lives and making sure that we're not spreading the virus, where we should see this virus start to dip because we have things in place. No sporting events, no social distancing is in place. But do this time to reflect and incorporate maybe the role of namaste, incorporate meditation, incorporate qigong while you're locked down while you're hunkering down in wherever you're at in the world, because this is a global pandemic. This is not just Seattle. This is other states that are starting to see other cases. Italy's completely locked down. France is locked down. Spain is locked down. Like I said, in my prediction, I do see that the Canadian border will close in the next 2 to 4 days as the virus continues to spread. Mexico is already doing that. And that's just to really alleviate the spread of the virus, so we can actually start getting those cases and numbers to come down as more people get tested. But there's some cool things that have I've been kind of researching history past about viruses, and some great discoveries have come when people have been locked in place from viruses. I'm trying to think of a friend of mine had posted it when he talked about, I think it was the Spanish flu of the 1600s, and he even put out a prayer for a pandemic, which I'm going to read, to maybe calm the minds and to put people at ease, because again, fear can really drive. This is the time that we need leadership. We need cool heads to prevail. We need good information, not disinformation. And just because we're in social distancing, that doesn't mean social disconnect. So reach out to your neighbors. I'm on an app called Neighborhood that connects to my neighbors around me. I do have some elderly folks that I'm going to send a message to say, hey, I'm working from home. If you need something, look in on your elderly neighbors or family or friends close to you, and use this as a time to have that social distancing, but also that mindset to reach out and to help others during a time of crisis, during a time of viruses. It's only when we we divide or we don't come together that everything falls apart. And I've been listening to, some of you have been seeing the videos coming from Italy where everybody is in full lockdown, like a sense of martial law. Like if you're out, they're fining you 60 euros for being out. I hope that we don't get to that in the United States where we have habeas corpus or martial law. But they're singing in the streets, and they're, finding ways to harmonize and to unify in the best that they can given the scenario. So, in numerology, we talk about the word attitude all the time, that the word attitude adds up to 100. If you were to correspond the letters to numbers, the word attitude adds up to 100. So during this time, have a positive attitude, positive thinking, stay strong, keep a level head. Don't lose yourself in the fear in everything the media is running out, depending on what side of the media you watch. Now you have two different sides of media. I try to stay mainstream, down the middle of the road. But it was a friend of mine that talked about back in 1665, when the University of Cambridge closed temporarily due to the bubonic plague during the 1600s. It was where Isaac Newton actually, he had to work from home, and during this time he developed calculus and the theory of gravity. So, there can be some really great discoveries from this and some really positive things. And I know people have been talking about 9 months from now, we're going to see a huge baby boom too, where everybody is stuck at home. So come 9 months from now, watch the birth rates actually spike up from this. But, I just wanted to come on this morning and talk about, that there will be some changes. Change is never easy, but it is the one thing I found consistent in life is change. And if you can be what I call a kahuna big wave surfer, knowing that the waves of change are always going to come in life, and be on top of those waves and enjoy the waves like a surfer enjoys the waves, versus getting under the waves and getting pounded by the waves over and over again, and that lesson repeats until it completes. It just helps you to navigate with a better mindset, mindfulness, awareness, and of course positivity. And my show is all about inspirational messages for the week ahead. So this coronavirus is real. It's happening. It is a pandemic. Stay informed. Watch the, like I said, I'm going right to the CDC website and my local government through my governor's office to pay attention. I'm not really paying attention to what the national news is saying. I'm not paying attention to what the federal government's saying, because both are not serving the people. Trust your instincts, trust your gut on this, on what you should do. I don't know about the whole stocking up on toilet paper and going crazy. The food supply, the food chain is intact. So food is still being delivered, so don't go hoard all the food. There are people that really need, some people walk to the store and they need that, especially the elderly. So be mindful of others. This is a great time to be mindful of others. Social distancing doesn't mean social disconnecting. Pay attention, take care of your neighbors, look in on your neighbors. For my neighbors that may be watching this show, where I'm at, that I'm very skilled in first aid and CPR and all that good stuff, and I'm always willing to lend a hand to help others. It's the pay it forward. It's the giving feels good approach, and I hope that you guys will approach this experience, approach this life-changing event as a test on how you're going to respond. Are you going to respond with failure and the sky is falling and it's the apocalypse and everything that I've been hearing? Or are you going to approach it with a mindset of, no, this too shall pass. We will get through this. We will become stronger and better, because what doesn't kill us does make us stronger. Now, this virus is killing. However, if you stay inside and you follow the rules, I do believe that this too shall pass. This virus will dip. But what it will do, it will change how we interact with one another, how we see viruses as a global pandemic, which has happened throughout history. The Spanish flu, influenza, the bubonic plague. We even had that Ebola scare a few years ago. But this is because it spread so quick and we didn't have a way to contain it. And we don't know the actual numbers, and we won't know the numbers for months. So this will be playing out for a few months. But I do see it going down. And again, I talked about this back in December. A few of you were listening to me. I said that this Black Plague, this China's Black Plague, is coming to the United States. It will turn into a pandemic at some point, because they don't have the proper restrictions and channels and personnel in place to stop it. We'll learn from that going forward. I guarantee you, in some way, somehow, the people's voice will rise up and be heard. But I also talked about, I could see habeas corpus or martial law coming into play, which is a constitutional right. So be mindful of that to keep people indoors if this continues to get worse. Like I said, I've never seen the YMCA close down in 125 years, and I've been a member for years, and I got alert that they're closed through March 31st. So a few weeks of hunkering down. Find time to be creative. Find time to just spend simple, quality time with your family, with your friends, with your animals, with your loved ones, as we take a global pause. This is all it is. It's just a pause. This is not the end of the world. I'm going to give you some crystals to help you with your journey. If you guys want to share out my page, or you like what I do, you like my messages, you like the work that I do, please share out to a page or invite a person in. We're going to get ready for the Healing Cafe here in about 8 minutes, where I'll be taking free readings, spiritual chats. It's all free. You don't have to pay me for it. I said I'd be working a little bit more on mediumship today, so see if I can invite some of your loved ones in to see if I can have a message and have you call in onto my business line. But I also, I want to just incorporate some numerology, a spirit animal for you, and some crystals to help you this week as we move forward in a new direction. This is a new paradigm, and something none of us have ever seen I've never seen it in my lifetime, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to get caught up in the fear factor of it. And if you want to subscribe to my page, my YouTube channel, please get on. That's a growing page, and I do monitor any shares, any new subscriptions to my newsletter, Soul Adventures, or my YouTube channel, or my podcast, Inspired Living Radio. And at the end of the month, I pick one person for a free 30-minute reading. I reach out to you privately. So if you're sharing, if you're subscribing, if you're liking, it's a great way to get a free reading at the end of the month. And I'll be choosing somebody here at the end of March for a free 30-minute reading. I do have a team in place that's on board this morning, so thank you to my team for helping me. You know who you are, Colleen and Jeanette, and if I'm missing anybody else, please reach out and let me know. Or if you want to come on board the Intuitive Prospector team and help manage the Healing Cafe that we're getting ready for, just send me a private message. I'd love to have you join the team as a spiritual prospector, helping others and in search of your own spiritual goal. You can find more information about me at marclainhart.com. Internet search the Intuitive Prospector. You can find me at Best American Psychics, Best Psychic Directory, FamousPsychicMediums.com, and of course Ariel's Spiritual Community, which also streams through your Alexa or Echo. Just ask to open up Positive Living, and you get spiritual tips, daily tips from me and many other amazing light workers out there. I'm actually working on a new series of tips, and with that, I want to give you your numerology number for the week, which is Domestic Harmony. This is the card that I picked this morning. It's a 4 and a 6. So the 4, we're in the year of the 4, which is about focusing, fixing, dedicated work. This is what we're doing. We're dedicated work to what unfolded last year in 2019, this coronavirus, moving into our own higher mindsets of how we respond to a global pandemic, how we respond to fear, how we respond to panic. This is a lesson, so approach it with higher thinking and a sound mind, and don't get caught up in the fear mongering, or don't get caught up with the sheeple and follow the herd mentality during a time of crisis. Trust your intuition, trust your gut on this. And the 6 energy is about self-love. So 4 and 6 is 10, which means independence. So we're all very independent right now for the next few weeks. And find some domestic harmony while you're locked down, while you're hunkering down. Find something that inspires you. Maybe write, do a song, do something that you haven't done in a while when you have this downtime. You could be the next Isaac Newton that discovers calculus and the theory of gravity during a plague, like he did in 1665 during the bubonic plague. So that's your numerology number for the week, 4, 6, and 1. 4 is focusing, dedicated work, manifesting what you want. 6 is self-love, and 1 is independence and driving new ideas and new concepts. There will be some really good things that do come out of this virus. I do believe that, how we interact. And again, the global handshake will change. I think people will start to not shake hands anymore. That's kind of an American thing. I personally will either do the fist bump, I'll do the namaste, or I just put my hand over my heart and I bow. And I'm going to do that more as we move forward. So, sometimes it takes the storms, as we used to say in the Coast Guard, to get your sea legs. You got to go through the storms to get to the smooth sailing and become a strong sailor. And right now we're just in that storm, but this too shall pass, and the dawn will come right after the darkness. So stay positive, stay upbeat, stay inspired, stay encouraged. All the things that I promote in the work that I do. Level thinking, mindful thinking, and just have awareness, be informed. So I'm going to give you some some crystals this week to help with peace and calming. I find that rose quartz, which is the stone of unconditional love and infinite peace, is an excellent stone to help during trying times. Rose quartz, in fact, I'm wearing, right now I've got a little bit of rose quartz in here, and some blood moonstone, and some cornelian. Another one is green jade. They call that the lucky charm. So green jade is really good for peace and calming energy. And the amethyst, which is the stone of spirituality, contentment, peace, and meditation. Amethyst, selenite, danbarite, kunzite, which is the stone of emotion, pink calcite, which is the stone of peace, blue lace agate, which I'm actually wearing blue lace agate right now over my heart, which is the stone of articulation. This is blue lace agate right here. So even just spirit quartz, which is, spirit quartz, which is the stone of harmony, again, harmony, and alignment. So I'm giving you a whole bunch of stones today. I keep seeing something go behind me. I don't know if you guys just saw that. I don't know if that's a shadow or if that's something. being reflected off the sun. That was interesting. Anybody see that thing go behind me right there? Or is that just me? When I'm live, who knows with me, the spirit world. But those are your stones for the week. Those are your crystals for the week. Check those out. Bring them close to you. If you have them, put them in your environment close to you. I think that helps. And then the totem animal spirit for this week is the seal. And the seal comes up, if you see the seal out in water, in a magazine, in a movie, in a TV, it's your creative imagination is active and fertile right now. So keep a journal nearby and write it in every day, especially during this virus. Talk about how you feel during this pandemic, this global pandemic that is literally shutting down the world. Write about how you're going to feel. I'm going to be writing about this, about my emotions, my fears, my doubts, my uncertainties, the leadership, what the leadership's doing and not doing. History will hold people accountable, guys. History will reflect. History will remember. Pay attention to your dreams, too, because there's going to be a lot of collective consciousness of people coming together, just like they're singing in Italy, all the songs coming together, unisons, consciousness. So pay attention to your dreams. They may be very clear and very vivid, so pay close attention to those and just write down any messages from your subconscious. The cycle of challenges and hardship is going to be going on for the next few weeks, if not months. But you're now moving into a time of abundance and clarity for the rest of the year. So even though it's an emotional time for all of us, the seal or the sea lion, however you want to say that, is for you to move into a comfortable experience with how you're feeling, and at the same time stay grounded. So this is a time to stay attuned to your natural rhythms, such as sleeping when you're tired, eating when you're hungry, and exercising when you feel the urge to do so. So that is this seal or the seal lion. There it is again. Okay, I am seeing orbs. I must be catching the sun must be coming through the window and catching refraction of the light coming through. But I keep seeing spirit. I keep seeing energy or light off my left shoulder here. But I do have the shade pulled down because the sun is shining in Seattle, believe it or not. So I'll debunk that unless I can go back and watch a video and see something. But I'm not seeing anything that would give off that refraction. So maybe just that's the positivity and encouragement of staying inspired. Be inspired, inspire others, inspire before we expire. There's a lot going on in the world, guys. But keep a level head. Stay informed, stay positive, stay encouraged, reach out to others, check on your neighbors, check on your family, find a way to, reach out. We have technology to do that, and I hope that you've enjoyed today's show. I know that the global handshake is going to change. We are at a global pause, and sometimes we need to pause as a society so we can reflect, rejuvenate, rest, and really move into what we want life to be moving forward. So I'm going to fist bump you. I'm going to elbow bump you. I'm going to say namaste to you. I'm going to put my hand over my heart and bow to you. All gestures of kindness and compassion and caringness and welcoming without actually shaking hands and spreading any kind of germs. So stick around. I'm going to get ready for the Healing Cafe here in about 1 minute. I'll be back. So if you have a question, more specific your question, the more specific the answer. I'll go on for about an hour or so. One question per person, please, because we can get a long queue. And if you're asking multiple questions, that's like cutting in line. So if you have your one question, I'll try to get to it as I go through the queue. If I miss it, just put bump. My team will also be on to respond to let you know that I'm going in order. But if you're asking multiple questions, I'm only going to answer one question. And then I'll also work on mediumship. So please be respectful, be kind. We got a lot of people watching today. I appreciate you. I see you. I acknowledge you. I hope for the best for you. This too shall pass. We will get through this. And if you want to subscribe to anything that I'm doing, just go to marclainhart.com, internet search the Intuitive Prospector, and it would be an honor to spiritually prospect with you for your own spiritual transformations, your own spiritual healing, and of course, your own spiritual gold. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. I hope that you have a fabulous rest of the day. Find the good in the day, seize the day, even if the day means that you have to stay indoors and stay safe and stay healthy and stay informed. But don't let fear and panic get the best of you. This too shall pass. So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. I'll see you next Monday for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Every Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the Intuitive Prospector page. Have a great day, everybody. Namaste.